1996 to 2000 poor man's, quote unquote, poor man's 5-look conversion. Reason I say poor man is because I feel this method is a little better than buying used parts and installing them. This is all new components, so new wheel bearings, brand new rotors, etc. So we decided to go with NSX front brake calipers. These are off of 91, so it's a direct fit with the brackets onto the 282 millimeter front Integra Type R rotors. So when I refer to Integra Type R, this is all USDM spec. Same with the front wheel hubs, OEM Integra Type R wheel hubs, 32 millimeter. Integra Type R brake master cylinder, that's essential. Integra Type R front brake pads, just some street Bosch pads, no big deal. Integra Type R wheel bearings, you are gonna have to remove the stock wheel bearing from the front knuckles and then press these in. For the rear, we have 2002 Prelude rear hubs. These ones have the wheel bearings already installed, so this is simple. The rear is super easy. And then we also bought 2002 Mazda Protege spindle nuts. You're gonna lose a bit of thread up at the top, so these going a little deeper, a little more secure. For the rear, we got some Integra Type R rear caliper brackets. They're extended to fit the larger rear rotors. They're not much larger than the stock ones, but they're larger. And then just some Bosch street pads there, nothing crazy. Oh yeah, and then some Goodridge brake lines. Can't go wrong with Goodridge. And yeah, install coming soon. Remove that bolt and that bolt. Remove that ball joint nut right there, that tie rod nut right there, and this ball joint nut right there. Alright, so breaking free this ball joint here, you're going to want to buy a sacrificial nut. It's M12 by 1.25, and the reason why I bought that is because we don't want to ruin our castle nut. We do have to thread it in just a bit. That way, when we use our ball joint removal tool here, you won't ruin your castle nut, and it allows the tool to have more surface area, and you won't mushroom the ball joint, the threads in the ball joint. So yeah, just tap this in and ready to go. And then once you have your tool assembled and ready to rock and roll, gonna get a 15/16 socket here. And you're not supposed to use power tools, but I'm a bit of a thug, so power tools it is. Bam. And just like that, the knuckle's off. Some people were asking about the axle size, 32 millimeters, and the ITR USDM spec is also 32 millimeters, so it's a direct fit. So for press tools, I have this bearing puller and installer kit. It's pretty nifty. Shout out to my buddy Chris Lam for introducing me to this toolkit. Before, I was just using this, which does the job, but it's a lot more difficult. This is mainly intended for ball joint removal and installation, and I was using it, utilizing it as well for bushing, install, and removal, which it works, but it's very difficult. So anyhow, I'm gonna use this little guy to press out the wheel hub. This thing would work as well. We just got to figure out how to cover up this, that way your shock press doesn't have something to latch onto. I don't know where I got this, but you know how it goes. You find shit in your arsenal, I'm just gonna use it. Alrighty folks, so little update, we're just about ready to press out the front wheel hubs here on this 2000 Honda Civic EX knuckle. So unfortunately my buddy's Honda Civic is it's a DX, so the DX model definitely my mistake and oversight for not double checking, but the DX model front knuckles will not accept the Integra Type R wheel bearings or the wheel hub. Reason being is that the diameters are much smaller compared to the EX and SI front knuckles, which we had to buy these used. They're in pretty rough shape, but I'll get them cleaned up. Gonna install new front, the lower ball joint there, no problem. So we'll be good to go now that we have these assemblies. But yeah, so there was a little bit of a delay in this 5-lug conversion process, but rest assured it's almost done. So here's my arrangement for pressing out the front wheel hubs. So as you can see, I have a little block set up with a makeshift what is it, wheel bearing puller kit. So here's what that is: bearing separator and puller set. This comes in handy for a lot of different things that I do. So I just ended up using this one, the bigger one, and then I bought some extended thread, that way it can fit around the wheel hub perfectly. And what this does is it creates like a little platform along the outside, that way I can properly and safely push out the wheel hub. It'll come down. I've seen some setups where people try to like rearrange the spindle in an odd way, so you get like 3 blocks over here and 2 over here, and then you're struggling to get this centering here like completely flat, because if you're not completely flat, then you're gonna have some serious damage or mess something up. So this is just like really easy way to do this. And then to press out the wheel hub itself, use this little guy here in conjunction with this, and then just pop that in the center. It's perfect. And then I'll get this aligned and we'll start pressing out. Should take no more than 2 minutes. Small update to report. So I ended up flipping this in this correct orientation here. Reason being is that once it starts pressing down, this compresses and wants to go downward. So if you have this edge facing up, you'll reduce that almost entirely. That was one of the most painless wheel hub removals of all time. Alright, so now that the wheel hub is successfully removed, next step is going to be to remove this C-clip here. To do that, I have these tools. This is going to grab the C-clip, and then these don't really lock in place very well. So what I'll do is once I have enough tension inward, I'll grab a flathead and just kind of pry it out slowly along the way. So the seat clip is definitely seized in the housing, so I had to use some impact to break it free. So now that we broke it free, now we can try to take this out. So I got one edge pried up. Now I just got to go around and pry it all out. Make sure you wear safety goggles. This thing may come at you at high speeds. Oh, it's back in. God damn it. Alright, it's almost out, so probably gotta point this away from me, yeah? Alright. Yeah, that was seized in there real good. The downside of buying used shit. Alright, so now we're at the point where we need to finally remove the wheel bearing completely. So I figured I'll reuse my little setup here so it can come out easily from there. You can grab a cylinder that's wide enough in diameter to fit directly over that, but you know, I already have the setup, so I figured why not reuse it. And then to press it out, so if I haven't mentioned it before, this is a Power Built Tools 23 piece, I think it's a ball joint service kit with the U-joint press. Highly recommend is this. I use this for like so many things. So this guy here is a perfect diameter to fit over the race, just like so. Up, just like that. I don't think I got it on video, but yeah, fits perfectly. And then I could probably press it out just like that, but why not add some security there. Alright, so at this stage, it's time to press the wheel bearing back into the knuckle. If you have ABS, you want to make sure you put the wheel bearing in the correct orientation for ABS. The DX does not have ABS, so it doesn't matter which way you put it in. So the way I'm going to press this in is, again, using this 23-piece power built kit. This tool here fits perfectly along the diameter of the wheel bearing, and it'll also sink into, it's also not large enough to where it'll hit on the edge of the knuckle itself, so it's perfect size. And then we're going to use this like that, and then this on top. So for securing the bottom side, for us to press in the wheel bearing, I'm going to use this coupler that I bought at Ace Hardware. There's the size of it. So this goes in perfectly. Because the wheel bearing, it's not coming all the way through here, so this is perfect to hold it in on the bottom. I use this for the rear trailing arm bushings. This presses them out and presses them in perfectly. So smoke them if you got them. should do it. She in there. Alright, so simple enough. Installation is the reverse of removal. So we'll reinstall the ring here, and then we'll press in the wheel hub shortly. Alright, so ball joint removal and installation. As you can see, this is very corroded and rusted up, seized. So first, remove this boot by first removing this little spring retainer. This is easy to take off. The hard part is going to be taking off this C-clip retainer. It was rusted in and seized, so I went ahead and used a punch, angle it like this, and then with the sledgehammer kind of give it a few whacks, break it free. Then from there, put a small flathead, and I'm just going to pry, and eventually take it out. Alrighty, so that retaining clip is out. Next step is to take out the ball joint. Unfortunately, this unit is very rusted and corroded, so it's going to take a bit more work than originally intended, but no big deal. So I was going to try to use the U-joint press, but unfortunately the way the knuckle is designed, there's not enough room here to use any of the cylinders that we have on hand. Honda does sell a cylinder to fit directly in there and makes pressing it out pretty easy, but for today we're just going to use a trusty old sledgehammer, give it a couple whacks, and we should be good. Alrighty, so now we're at the point where we can install the lower ball joint. We're going to use the U-joint press kit, and then I have here this cylinder that'll fit directly under here, and we'll press out this way and we'll install it. Alright, so now we're at the point where we're going to press in the wheel hub. So here's the back side. This is the part that you need to secure. So I went ahead and used the same tool that I used previously. Like I said, this is what I used to press out the rear trailing arm bushings. So this diameter fits perfectly on the race, like so. And then from the top, we use this guy again to press in the hub. Alright, slight change of direction. Ended up using a bit of a taller cylinder from the 23-piece kit, only because my press was having trouble reaching, so this will work just fine. And I double checked the bottom just to ensure that the cylinder on the bottom is seated 100% along the diameter of the inner race. Because if it's not, you're gonna have some problems. And this is almost seated here. One more for good measure. That should do it. And that's in. Alrighty guys, so continuing from where we last left off, I spent about, probably a good 30 minutes trying to take out this ball joint here, but zero give. The other one came out just fine using this method, just taking a 4-pound sledgehammer and just hoping that it would come out of this side. But it looks like the new updated Honda ball joints, they oversized them a bit. It's hard to see in the video, but basically it's oversized, and they no longer use like a C-clip to hold this in place. I guess they figure once it's in there, it's in there, and I can attest to that. So being that the space and the cavity right here is very, very limited, there's hardly any room to use any sort of these tools over here. None of these will work. So I was forced to give in and buy this power built Honda specific lower ball joint adapter set. I'd been eyeing this for a while and just been putting it off because quite frankly I was able to manage with things I have on hand, but yeah, this ball joint proved otherwise. So anyhow, this is the piece, this is the miracle piece that we need. So as you can see, the wall's super thin to fit right inside here, and then it's a little girth here on the outside to provide some leverage or some. So we're gonna set it up like this, and then we use this here to press it out. I was test fitting it just a bit ago, so it'll go like that. So wish me luck. Let's see what happens. All right, so I got it all set up here, and now it's time for extraction, or at least that's the goal. I don't want to block the view. Let's see. But I also need to hold this for leverage, so let's see. That's a sound of beauty. Oh my God, it's going. She going. Yes, sir. Oh my God. Can't emphasize how much it pays to just have the right tools on hand. Jesus Christ. Yeah. 30 minutes of my life wasted hacking away at this, and this is how it's gonna come out. That's fine with me. Oh yeah. Oh man, what a relief. What a relief. So if you'll notice, the diameter is definitely oversized compared to the inner diameter of the knuckle here. Yeah, thanks Honda. Appreciate you. So rear caliper removal, you're gonna take off the e-brake cable. You gotta remove this guy right here. Needle nose pliers should do the trick, and then take off this little guy here, this pin. Simple enough. Remove that, and then there's two 14mm bolts you gotta take off. It's already removed on these. One right there and one down at the bottom. Alright, now you got these two Phillips bolts here. You gotta take them off. This is your friend for removing these. Hit it with the sledgehammer, turn to the left, come right out. Or if you get lucky like me, they're already loose. Once the rotor is removed, I'm gonna tap out this cap here. So I get a little flathead screwdriver, just kind of tap all the way around. Sometimes you get lucky and there's a gap somewhere. So right here, I found one. Then once that cap's off, impact time. This should slide out if you're lucky. Yep. Lucky. Now you just slide the Prelude wheel hub right over. Get your Prelude rear hub. Slide it on in. Get the locking washer. Like that. Mazda Protege rear spindle nut. Slide that on. Hit it with an impact. So the reason why we did the Mazda Protege rear spindle nut over the OEMs, you can see the Mazda covers more surface area, and since we're limited on the amount of threads, it makes sense to at least cover more surface area. It's supposed to be safer, who knows. Remove the brake lines first by taking off the pin here that holds the brake line in, and then with the box wrench, just unscrew the brake line from here. Remove this 14mm bolt. OEM ITR rear rotors installed, and as you can see, they're a little bit larger in diameter compared to the stock ones. So that's the reason why we need this ITR caliper bracket. Remove these two 12mm bolts to take off the caliper bracket. And once that's off, gotta grab one of these tools, spin it clockwise to retract the piston. Remove the slide pins from the boots carefully, not to rip them, and then transfer these boots onto the new bracket. When installing the rear brake calipers, you may need to bend the dust shield in just a bit so your bolts will clear. Brake master cylinder removal. Get a 10mm box wrench. Remove that line. Remove this line. And then there's 12mm bolt right there, and then one on the other side. You're done.